New Fox News polls reveal what America thinks of President Trump's first 100 days.
Lauren Simetti from our sister network Fox Business is here with a look at those numbers. Hey, Lauren.
Good morning. Okay, so this is the report card for how the president has done thus far. Look, really strong numbers when it comes to the border. He's at 55% approval. Does well on foreign policy, too. Look at the border crossings at the southwest border. In March, they were down 95% from a year ago. And Americans largely approve of, how he's getting bad people out of this country, despite what's happening in the courts. But when it comes to the economy, this is where it's a little trickier, and this is where his numbers have gone south. He's struggling on the economy overall with a 38% approval rating. On tariffs, it's even lower at 33%, and his handling of inflation also at 33%. Many Americans believe that the tariffs are inflationary or will be inflationary. That's the worry. The Wall Street Journal has a piece this morning, and the headline says, Trump meets his match, and his match is the markets. The stock market is down. Many of us are invested in the stock market, and it's down 5% or more since April the 2nd, which was the announcement of the tariffs on Liberation Day. Most Americans trust Donald Trump's instincts. They believe in him and what he's going to do, and they know that he looks at the stock market as a barometer of the quality of life of Americans and how he's doing as president. So they think deals are going to happen. Right now, we have 18 trade deals on paper. That's what the White House said yesterday. We have hundreds of billions of dollars of investments pouring into this company. So in order for Trump to meet his dual mandate, if you will, protect American workers, bring jobs back onshore here to the U.S., that's part of it, but also fix these trade imbalances, get rid of the non-tariff barriers, make it an equal playing field, a level playing field. That's hard to engineer.
No doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And if that work gets done and deals get made when it comes to both foreign policy and trade, then those poll numbers will change. Speaking of poll numbers, though, there is another poll on young Americans, and it reflects how they feel about the Democratic Party. Tell us about that.
Hitting an all-time low. Look, we saw glimpses of this around the election time with college campuses and many young people saying, we like Donald Trump, we're going to vote for him. Look at that number in red. 23% of people under the age of 30 have a positive view of our Democratic leadership. Spring 2017, Trump's first term, it was high. It was at 42%. It got even higher to 48% around the election time, but it has dropped. Why? They don't believe in DEI. 9%, according to the same Harvard poll, says DEI has done nothing for them. 40% say the government overspends. Their leadership, Democratic leadership, is hitting in a powerful way Elon Musk and Doge all the time. The leaders aren't speaking to young people who are historically Democrat.
I'm going to tie these two poll situations together. Those Trump numbers are reactionary. They will change in a heartbeat. Those Democrat numbers, those are endemic. Those are here to stay unless the Democratic Party has significant change going forward.
I also thought it was interesting because in the Harvard poll about the young people, only 48% of young Americans say that having children is important, which is a topic of conversation this week with the Trump administration trying to tackle birth rates. So very interesting. Lauren, thank you so much.
Good to see
us.
Okay, let's bring in Special Assistant to President Trump, Harrison Field. Harrison, good morning to you. So what are your thoughts on these latest Fox News polls? The president has great marks when it comes to border security, but he is underwater when it comes to the economy, tariffs, and inflation.
Well, I think overall the American people are giving the president his due time to get in here. It's only about 4 months to go in and do what they elected him to do, which is eventually tax cuts. We are continuing to do deregulation, and tariffs are playing one role. But if you talk to people in Main Street, you talk Macomb County, you talk Rochester, New York, these are people that are very supportive because he is reshoring jobs back into the country and prioritizing the American worker and not the worker of Vietnam. So these are all great things. And I'll just remind the American people, the poll that was conducted on November 5th, which happened to be Election Day, we had 77 million Americans vote for Trump policy. So it's only about 4 months. Give us some time. The economy is looking very strong. Look at inflation numbers. Look at jobs numbers. We are just getting started.
Okay, so yesterday, the president was asked when a trade deal with China is coming, and he said, well, that depends on China. So when it comes to concessions, what does China need to do first in order for President Trump to feel comfortable enough to come to the table and make a trade deal with the country?
Well, many people on both sides of the aisle have been talking about how China is not a fair trading partner. If you look at their non-trading barriers, the things that they do with currency manipulation, dumping products unfairly, these are all things that have to change. Our negotiating team knows exactly what China needs to do, and I'll let them handle that behind closed doors. But the reality is we have massive imbalances with China that is at the disadvantage both economically and also national security for the United States and for our people. President Trump is standing up for America, not just with China, but across the entire globe, which is why we have 18 agreements in hand, and we've got a whole bunch more countries lining up to do business with the American government.
Overnight, Russia launched one of its largest missile strikes on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, killing 9 people and injuring dozens of others, including children. What are the latest when it comes to the war negotiations and where those things stand? Yesterday, President Trump said that it's been more difficult to deal with Vladimir Zelensky than Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, well, unfortunately with Zelensky, it seems like we make one step forward and 10 steps back. The Wall Street Journal exclusive that he did wasn't helpful at all. We can't litigate this in the press so much so as behind closed doors. This is why we have Secretary Rubio and Special Envoy Witkoff handling these negotiations masterfully. And they are pursuing the president's goal of peace. He wants this war to end. He also wants the carnage to end in the Middle East. President Trump is always going to put forward his peace through strength mission to end wars. He doesn't want to see people die senselessly, which is exactly what he's doing. In 4 months' time, we are making so much more progress than President Biden was able to do in 3.5 years. We are going to see peace in this presidency. It is the president's commitment to do so.
Well, last week also, Harrison, the president said that the U.S. and Ukraine may sign a minerals deal today. So is that going to happen today? Where does that stand?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of any announcements, but I can tell you that minerals deal, which should have been signed about 2 months ago if it wasn't for Zelensky's antics in the Oval Office, has the potential of getting signed in the near future. This is going to be economically sound policy for the United States, but also for Ukraine, and it's also going to bolster their national security. I know Secretary Bessent, the president himself, have been very much attuned to this deal. They wanted to see it done, and I think it's going to be a step forward in the peace negotiations between the two parties.
Okay, so yesterday we saw President Trump signing a slew of executive orders when it comes to education. And one of them was very interesting, making AI the latest subject in American high schools. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, President Trump is bringing this country into 2025 and making sure that our students are embracing AI. We should be the dominant country when it comes to this amazing technology, which is why he is, through the Secretary of Education, empowering schools to teach this, to teach our next generation this amazing technology. We're actually going to be doing a presidential project, if you will, in which we're going to encourage our young people to submit projects on AI for the president to review. So this is getting the entire country behind AI, making sure that we are the dominant country, not China, not anyone else. And this is an amazing opportunity for kids to get involved in.
Yeah, reading, writing, arithmetic, and artificial intelligence. The future is now. Harrison, thank you so much for joining us this morning on a wide range of topics. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.